Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Okay, still pitch black outside, but that's when I record videos. It's just because I get up early. If you were watching last night's live stream, you heard that yesterday was a monumental occasion on the homestead here. Yesterday was the day after 3+ years that my solar generation system here for my house was completed. Sometime today, once the sun comes up, my solar setup will finish charging and I will flip my house over to running on solar. Okay. Why is this important? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in the grid. And not because it's old, dilapidated, falling apart, whatever, but because our government doesn't want us to have power. Now, let's take a look at this for a second. Since Potato Joe has taken office, national electricity rates have risen 23%, nearly one quarter. Okay. Under Joe's new EPA regulations that he's now promised in his campaign to run, it is expected that we will see 2 to 2.5 times, okay, double plus, our electricity rates by 2030. I don't know about you, but my electric bill sucks, all right? I mean, in a month when I don't use my air conditioning or my heat, because again, most of my house, everything but the stove is electric, my electric bill runs around $150. When we get cold winters, like we had that cold spell over this winter, didn't get as cold as we had last, but we always get that week of, oh crap, it's single digit temperatures in Tennessee. Okay, my bill gets up near $300. My budget can't handle that going to $300 every month and $600 when it's cold. Okay, I mean, that's insane. The average car payment is about there, and that's insane. You start thinking about it. Let's say you have a $600 electric bill and you make $20 an hour, the crazy minimum wage they want. You have to work 30 hours to keep the lights on. Most people work 160 hours in a month. So imagine paying nearly 20% of your income before taxes just to keep the lights on. I just want to give you that, okay? Now, you look at it and you go, gee, $150 electric bill. I'd kill for that. Yeah, maybe you would. Give you this. The electrical cost in my area, okay, we don't have peak hour pricing or anything like that here. It doesn't matter if I turn on the lights at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm paying the same rate. I get that there's cities and stuff like that who have on-peak and off-peak pricing. Okay, we pay here 11.35 cents per kilowatt hour. You go, okay, how's that compare? Well, it's more expensive than the cheapest states like Nebraska at 9.85 or North Dakota at 9.88, but I'm close to the bottom. But it's nowhere near the 44.28 cents per kilowatt hour that Hawaii pays, 4 times as much as I do. The 31.22 cents that Rhode Island pays, nearly 3 times as much. Or the 29.5 cents that California pays, 2.5 times as much. It's funny, if you look at the cost of electricity around the country, Of the 10 cheapest states for electricity, here's a surprise for you. 9 of them are red states. The only blue state that is in the top 10 for least expensive electricity is Washington State, not D.C., for all those Gen Zers who don't know how to read a map. The 10 states with the highest rate of electricity, well, I guess it depends on how you consider New Hampshire and Maine. If you consider them purple states, okay, then there's only 8 of the top 10 that are blue. I mean, it's a pretty obvious scenario here that if you want to be expensed out of life, move to a blue state. If you want to keep more of your paycheck, move to a red state. You know, all right. We can talk about gas prices. We can talk about housing prices. We can talk about insurance. We can talk about food. We can talk about electricity. Life's better in a red state. Sorry, those are facts. Joe may disagree, but I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, shocker. Okay. So you look at what Biden's new EPA policies are, all right? And mind you, you know as well as I do, we've shut down most of our nuclear power plants. Joe wants to shut down all our coal plants. And he wants us to go totally solar. Well, solar and wind at least, let's put it this way. So here's how this works. Coal plants run generating electricity 24/7, 365. And they keep generating electricity and keep generating electricity. And when you get up in the morning or get up, go have lunch, and you flip on a light switch, miraculously the lights come on. Solar, on average nationally, can generate about 5 hours of electricity per day. Which means for 19 hours a day, we are not generating electricity. So by the math, if we get the same output from coal that we do from solar, we're going to have 80% of the time the light switch ain't coming on. Okay. Already, it's so bad that California has to implement or has to import electricity from other states, from other grids, because the grid there, the electric companies there, PG&E for one, cannot handle the amount of electricity that's needed. Okay. We hear stories every summer. Oh, the temperature went up. We have a brownout. Expected brownouts. The power is going to be off in your area from this time to this time due to conserving electricity. 10 times more people die from cold than heat, right? People say, well, gee, okay. True. But I don't care if you're that one person that dies from the heat. Yeah, maybe electricity might have been a good idea. Just saying. They are now saying that with Biden's EPA policies, and I'll link this below. Okay, this was a comment that was made, or multiple comments. It was made by Dave Walsh, who is the former president and CEO of Mitsubishi Hitachi Power Systems. So, if you've ever seen one of those mini splits, you know, the little air conditioning thing that kind of this long, this wide, that's up in a corner of a room, that's one of the big things they make. All right. Power, you know, how to do something with less power. I'd say the guy knows what he's talking about. All right. Well, he's now saying that we can expect to see, under Biden's policies, brownouts and blackouts across the country constantly, not just when we have a massive heat wave. All right. How are you going to deal with that? I don't know about anybody else, but I like being able to see when I get out of bed in the morning. It's still dark out. I like to be able to, I don't know, charge my phone, use my microwave, brew a cup of coffee. Sure, you could say they're luxuries, and yeah, I'm a prepper, so I have a stovetop percolator and things. I could operate without electricity. Doesn't mean I want to. All right, there's the difference. There's a difference between surviving and living. Do I have what it takes to survive? Yeah, pretty much. Do I take what it has to live? Yeah, pretty much. Do most people have either? No, not even close, right? You have 90+% of this country who, if Starbucks is closed, have a panic attack because they don't know how to brew a cup of coffee. Now try to straighten them out and tell them, yeah, not only do you not know how to do it in the first place, you don't even have any electricity to run your Keurig. This is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons that I bit the bullet and over 3 years built a solar system. I will tell you this, I don't care how you do it, solar ain't cheap, period. Okay. Will I recoup the money I put into my system in my lifetime? Maybe, at current rates. If rates double, I'm going to recoup my money a lot faster. Okay. But right now I know if prices never moved from here in the next 20+ years, fat chance. Somewhere down the line, I'll recoup it. So kind of like we always talk about with gold and silver. You're locking in the value of your money today. What you could buy a tailored suit in 1920 for 1 ounce of gold. In 2024, you can buy a tailored suit for 1 ounce of gold. You've heard that story a million times, right? Well, that's kind of what I've done with my solar system. I paid for electricity at today's prices. Done. Okay. Whatever prices go to in the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years, I've already paid for mine. I've already got it. Okay. I picked up a piece here. I picked up a piece there. I got, give you this. Buying my smart panel. When I bought it, it was about $1,500. Prices have come down. It's now about $1,000. Okay, but I had it. It probably sat in a box for 9 months till I had the batteries that I needed and could afford to pay the electrician to come install it. Okay. Yeah, and for any of these idiots that say, oh, you could have done that yourself. When I have to have an electrician, a master electrician, come out 4 times to do this, yeah, no, it ain't a DIY job. Okay. But it works. I'm now to a point where I'm covered. Starting today, we will begin the tests on our system to see duration, how long it takes to charge. Obviously can't control cloud cover. Today's supposed to be a sunny day. That'll be good. But more importantly is what our output is versus what our input is. And any input is better than no input. When I got the system set up last fall, I was able to run my house for 4 days just on battery power with no input at all. Now let's see what I get. Now you think about that. If the grid currently is running at a zero-sum game, everything they're generating in 24/7, 365, we're using in the same 24/7, 365. California, of course, can't generate enough power. They've got to import it from other places. Okay. The country, our power suppliers, cannot produce the electricity that we need. And it's just getting worse. Bring in 10 million more people who are going to use electricity. Oh, gee, that's going to put more stress on the grid from people who aren't going to pay an electric bill. Just saying. Okay. So what do? I know it's tough. I know it's expensive. I try as best I can to find anything and everything I can for deals to help people. Figure this, hey, if I'm looking at them for me, why not share the information, right? Okay. How many times have I told you about Mrs. Mountaintop Preps? Hey, there's chicken on sale at this grocery store. On the way, okay? We share information. That's what we all do. We find a good product, we tell other people about it. We find a good service, we tell other people about it. Yeah, it sucks. And I know that you look at the cost and go, I can't afford that. Right. And when you started your prepping, the day you started, if somebody would have told you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're going to have to drop $20,000 to stock your beans and rice and bullets and Band-Aids, you'd have gone, I can't afford it, right? No, you didn't. You said, you know what? I'll buy a can of beans this week, and I'll buy a bag of rice this week. And the next week you did the same thing, and the same thing. And all of a sudden now, you have a pantry that most people will envy, correct? And how did you build it? Bit by bit by bit. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Guys, I harp on this enough. I'm hoping maybe somebody will listen. Do what you can to get yourself somewhat energy independent. I'm not saying go out and put a whole house system in or anything like that. You know, I've got a critical circuit system. Basically, I can run everything in my house with the exception of my HVAC system and my washer and dryer. Okay? I've got backups for heat. I've got fans, backups for cooling. Okay? Those would be more energy efficient, cost efficient if things get bad. If the worst case scenario comes in regards to washing clothes, hey, the bucket and plunger method is always available. The bathtub is always available. Okay. There are options to do it. Turning on a light, yeah, I'd rather do that than walking around with a candle or an oil lamp. Do I have candles? Do I have oil lamps? Yes. Okay. I have backups to backups to backups to backups on everything. Because if somebody takes one thing away from me, I've got another one. That's kind of the whole point. But if you're on the fence about doing this, dip your toe in. If you've got questions, you know, and I get these emails all the time. What generator should I buy? And my question always is, right back, what do you want to do with it? Okay. If you have questions, send me an email, answer that question. You know, I want to run my well pump. What's the most important critical one? What's the one making you think, I want to run my well pump? That was the one that started with me. That got me going. Okay, in order to run my well pump, I need 240 volt. Well, that narrowed everything down real quick, okay, to tell me what I needed. You know, I need to run overhead lights. That narrowed it down really quick, what I need. And if you go through step by step and go, okay, this is what I want to do, your answer becomes clear very quickly. And then when you look at what you need to get, now you have a plan. That's how you do it. Nobody expects you to go out and write a check for 20 grand to put a solar system in. Thereabouts. That's probably roughly what it cost me. I spread it out over 3.5 years. And I probably now, if I went and bought everything retail, could probably get everything, 16-ish, because things are cheaper. Technology gets cheaper over time. We know it. The one thing you don't get back is that time. Nobody knows if the power goes out next week, next month, next year, next decade, ever. But the one thing I do know, starting today, my electric company is getting out of my bank account. And that, to me, is a good thing. Enjoy Sunday. Pinball out.